living my life like I have to be a substitute for God's inactivity. That is not Christianity. Christianity is not living my life like I have to be a substitute for God's inactivity in the earth. So and I just want to quickly share this. In Luke chapter 6, verse 17 through 23, there's these contrasting words of Jesus with Luke chapter 6, verses 24 through 30. And I'll just share this and then we'll be done. We're living in a time right now where Jesus is calling us. People always say to me, so what is the Holy Spirit? What is Jesus saying? The best answer to that I ever heard was watching David Ravenhill on TBN one night. So David, what's the Holy Spirit saying to the churches? I perked up and listened. I usually watch TBN just for the comic relief, but I was actually watching it for comic relief, and God started to speak to me through David Ravenhill. And they asked him that question, and you know what his answer was? He quoted from memory the letters to the churches in Revelation. What are you doing, God? What are you doing, God? What is Jesus saying to us today? Where is he in politics? And, you don't even want to say what Jesus actually said. You don't want to actually say what the Bible actually says. You don't want to actually say that God's in control of everything. You don't want to say that. Jesus is in control. I'm sorry that the guy that you wanted elected, Christians, what are you again? We almost prayed to Ronald Reagan. I'm sorry. Guys, I'm sorry. That does not make me. Do not make me. I am a follower of Jesus. I'm not an Obama supporter because I just said that. That's what you do because you're a substituter. You're a practical atheist. You think that there is a political substitute for what Jesus did. Don't make me the person that's going after the evil way in chapter 6 of Luke. Just because you are. Don't make me an Obama supporter just because I say, but this is what happens to me. I just say, hey, aren't we supposed to be following Jesus? Oh, you're just an idealist, Jason. You must, poor Jason. He's just an idealist. He just doesn't understand. Okay, so let's see if I understand. Luke 6. This is the way of Jesus. You're blessed when you've lost it all because God's kingdom is there for the finding. Luke 6:17 area. Luke 6:24 in the Message. It's trouble ahead if you think you have it made. What you have is all you're ever going to get. You're blessed when you've lost it all? Because then God's kingdom is there for the finding? Are you telling me? Are you telling me that the Holy Spirit's activity in my life could actually be killing something and making me lose all the things that I've built, that I actually have to die so that I can be resurrected? Are you telling me that God's really blessing me? His blessing on my life is the destruction of all things that make me not trust Him? That's the blessing on my life? That's blessing? But it's trouble ahead when I think I've got it made and I create certitude? What you have is all you're ever going to get? Oh, this is another one. You're blessed when you're ravenously hungry. But it's trouble ahead if you're satisfied with yourself, because yourself will not satisfy you for long. Here's another one. Jesus saying to us, you're blessed when the tears flow freely, because joy comes in the morning. This is the contrasting. You read it for yourself today, Luke chapter 6, verses 17 through 30. But it's trouble ahead, Jesus says, if you think life's all about fun and games. Because there's suffering to be met, and you're going to meet it. That's the word of Jesus. That's not my word. That's not my idea. That's not my think. It's not some denomination. It's the words of Jesus. How about this? Count yourself blessed every time someone cuts you down or throws you out, every time someone smears or blackens your name to discredit me. Because what it means is that the truth is too close for comfort and that person is uncomfortable. You can be glad when it happens. You can even skip like a lamb if you like. For even though they didn't like it, I do. And all heaven applauds. And know that you're in good company, because my preachers and witnesses have always been treated like this. Contrast. But there's trouble ahead when you live only for the approval of others. Saying what flatters them. Doing what indulges them. Popularity contests are not truth contests. Let's just stick on that for a second. Popularity contests are not truth contests. Look at the history of the world. You do it yourself. The greatest art that was ever created, most of it was never popular within the lifetime of the artist. The way of influence is not the way of popularity. It doesn't mean that you can't be popular and be influential. There certainly are people within history that have been popular and been influential. But their way has never been to be popular and influential at the same time. Popularity is often a nuisance to them. Thomas Merton wrote one of the greatest spiritual writings, The Seven-Story Mountain, in the 1960s, because a bunch of monks gave him a typewriter and threw him in a room and said, write your story. He wrote his story. It became so world famous that it became an impedance to him writing. And so he told a bunch of people, when asked to write about how he became a success, he said, if I were to talk to my contemporaries, I'd tell you, avoid success at all costs. In fact, if I've ever written a bestseller, I'll do everything I can to avoid ever writing a bestseller again. Why? Because the way of the artist, which means the way of a Christian, is not to win the popularity contests. It's not to indulge people with their felt needs. I want you to like me. I'm a human just like you are. I want to walk the evil way just like you do. I don't want you to leave this place and say, Jason's the most ridiculous person on the face of the earth and I can't stand him. Who wants that? I want to follow Jesus. Popularity contests are not truth contests. Look how many scoundrel preachers were approved by your ancestors. Your task is to be true, not popular.